path. Like I say, it's one of the what we call big fours in SAP. Big fours are finance, CEO, SD, and MM. I call them the big four anyways. And anybody sitting in one of those four models would probably really be open to a lot of opportunities. So because of the want of time, I'll just say I will drop my Do you have access to my number? I will just drop my WhatsApp number. And please, I've dropped it on the chat. You can reach out to me, then we can discuss in detail. But yes, it's possible to get the training work on the system. For example, I opened up the system. Sure, if you come here, you're going to see where your module sits in logistics, then you will probably see materials management. And this is basically some of the work you're going to do if you're sitting in MM. So yeah, it's something that is doable. Just reach out to me after the call, then we can hopefully discuss that in detail. All right, thank you. I hope I've answered that. But my number is in the chat now. You can just get it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
all right. Yeah. So just to summarize, Suleiman's point, and of course that of Mike, I think that yes, and I want to agree with Suleiman that the way technology is right now, it's going to get to the point. In fact, there's a race between top ERPs, and a lot of them are investing in AI. In fact, sometime 2 years ago, SAP put out a publication that they are going to upskill, I think probably 70% or 80% of their staff on AI. So they are planning something, really. They are planning something. And there's been a lot of investments in technology. So I guess we'll come to that point where probably the system will pick up routine tasks that people do and support with things like configurations. So it's now left for consultants to also evolve. So I think the way I see AI is a two-edged sword. It will probably take jobs from some people who are probably on routine task, for example. For example, now you can automate transactions, and once it comes to that date, to post it automatically. You don't need a human being to start posting things. So there are some innovation that is already happening now. But you see, the person's job to post that thing should have been taken off. But it will also create another opportunity for people who understand that process in SAP. So that's why I said it depends on the human being to understand trends, to understand the times and the seasons, to understand where technology is going and align. And that's why people who are smart have already started aligning. Some people still doubt what technology can do, so they are still in the old ways. So it will depend on you, the human being, to adapt quickly and pick up those skills those opportunities that AI will generate, so that you can you can be part of those who will enjoy the benefits of the technology. Like I said, those developers who develop jobs have jobs and probably will have jobs for probably a while. Why the work that the Joes will do will take up jobs from people. So it's left for you who is sitting on that path that technology would crush to now change your path and deviate to where it's beneficial. I think that's the beauty of human beings. We have the ability to adapt. So I will not blame the technology. I would rather blame the human beings for not adapting to whatever change that technology will bring. I think that's my feedback to you. Yes, it will disrupt a lot of things, but it will still benefit others. But the message here is we all have to make sure we are paying attention to technological trends and we are aligning as much as possible. Okay, let's see how we can drive this down. Yeah, so let's look at careers in SAP, really. I think that's where we're going to wrap up, like I said. Now, if you look at, a career in SAP starts with understanding who you are, what your strengths are, what your skills, what you have strong points in. It really it asks the question, you have to ask yourself, who am I as a person, and where do I fit in the whole end-to-end process of SAP? Like, where do I sit? It all starts with understanding your strengths and where you are as a person. And once you understand that, we can see clearly, because we're talking about SAP, but let's look at what, for you to be able to stay in the environment, to be in SAP, you need to understand what SAP consultants or analysts do. What do we do as SAP consultants? The first thing is that, and it's not in no particular order, we translate requirements into SAP solution. So when a business wants to use SAP, it's the job of, in quote, both analysts and consultants to understand those requirements and make sure that SAP can meet up with those requirements. So we translate requirements into SAP solutions for those who are asking what we do as SAP finance consultant. Two, we do configurations, we test, we support um, SAP modules. So whether you're in finance or you're procurement or you're in sales, what we do is to configure the system to meet up with those requirements or support the business with using the system. That's a huge responsibility. The next is we bridge business and technology. So it's the job of the consultant to understand business requirements, understand what the business wants. Remember, in the EROP definition, we understand what the enterprise wants, and we understand what the resource wants, which is the technology. We're in the middle. So we are the ones to understand the business and their requirements. We're the ones to understand the system and the system requirements. It's when you stay on both sides, it's when you stay in the middle, you can now appreciate how you can appreciate your role as an analyst or as a consultant. So, like I said, this is business, this is SAP. So you are holding both of them as a consultant. So you need to understand processes in business. You need to understand processes in systems. And it's only when you can understand those two, you can effectively translate them. So you pick the requirements here and translate them into how the system will support. That is the major job of an SAP consultant. So, but unfortunately, we have people sitting very well here. A lot of people sitting here in the system side. They stay so long on the system side. They have very little knowledge about business. And that's one of the issues we're having. That's why a lot of projects have issues. So you have people who don't understand business, but they understand how the system works. So when a user is telling them, this is how we work, this is how processes is, this is best practice, this is international reporting standards. When the user is trying to communicate that, they don't understand those terminologies because what they know is the system. So, but a complete consultant, a professional consultant, is somebody who sits in the middle between business and systems or business and SAP. So that when the business tells you what they want, you can translate that and understand how SAP will support that. That is what we do as SAP consultants. Then, of course, you also have to learn how to integrate SAP with other systems. So integration is very important. Um, so in most businesses, SAP is not the only system they use. For example, they might be using an expense management system like Concur, or they might be using Workday, or they might be using some of all these add-on systems to so you need to understand how those systems are connected to SAP and how data can flow between those systems to SAP. But we have people who is their core responsibility, those who are in the technical space, the ABAP guys and the basis guys and the developers. But as a business, as somebody in the functional or business space, you need to be able to get those requirements and translate them in the way the technical team will understand. We improve processes and controls and improve reporting. We support users and drive adoption. This is the cardinal job responsibilities or functions. There's so many, but this is everything revolves around these six key areas. And we ensure compliance accuracy, and efficiency in the system. These seven cardinal areas. So in case you want to you kind of you're not clear what you're supposed to be doing, this is it. This is what SAP consultants do. We translate requirements, we do configurations, we test, we train, we support. We are a bridge between business and technology. We support with integrations. We improve processes and control. Don't just say my job is to configure system. No, that is a siloed way of thinking as a consultant. Your job goes further than just configuring system. It's a little bit of all of this. That's how to think as a consultant. And again, you can see the SAP functional consultant where they sit at the heart of the operations. So whether it's understanding business processes, understanding project implementation, and understanding systems, that is you here. But unfortunately, in our current work environment, most people most people stay here. Some people stay here, and some people are isolated. So it's difficult to see one person who has a bit little who has that touch of understanding understanding the big picture within the business. It's not bad because SAP is very large, so SAP also supports specialization. But as you're specializing, you need to also understand other areas, and that will help you you know better support businesses when you become a consultant. Now let's look at career, how you can move within the career if you come into the space as a finance consultant. Sometimes you can start as a super user or you can start as an end user. So people who post transactions into the system. And from there, you can move to becoming an associate. I started as when you get your certification, you start as an associate because your certification is actually an associate certification. Then after working for a few years on a live project or with a company that uses SAP and you're consistent, you move into consulting or being a consultant. Haven't got your hands dirty with projects and implementation, BA work, project work. You move into the senior role. From senior role, you become a principal consultant, and then you become a solution architect. Once you understand the very big picture, understand how everything connects together. So this is giving you a glimpse of how people move within the career. Now, how do I develop my career? And this is very important. I think this is where we're going to. Yeah, this is the last slide. So going to the last slide because we'll go to the market and find some SAP jobs and we'll see the salaries that most people earn. But before we go, how do I develop my career? You have started very well. Those who have engaged in training have started pretty well because that means that you have passed most of you have the mental strength. So the first thing is to develop a mental strength because SAP is deserves SAP is SAP deserves you to have a mental. If you don't have a mental strength, you will not get to the end of the journey. It's very, very demanding. Yeah, so you have to want it. You have to prepare your mind. If you want to be a consultant, tell yourself, I want to be a consultant. And if I don't, and that is the only way I will stop until I achieve what I want. So there is no stopping until you get to that point. But for you to have that level of determination, you have to have your mental strength needs to be very good. Then secondly, you have to identify key strengths. Like I said initially in my previous slide, you need to know who you are and which of the space can benefit you. For example, if I go back to my slide, yeah, you have some people who are good, designing systems and configuring systems. You have some people who are good and PM, who are good at managing people and engaging with people and managing stakeholders, and they like coordinating things. They like making sure that things go according to plan. Even though you have learned as a functional consultant, if that is your strength, you need to start looking at that area of SAP, because in a typical project, we have a lot of people. We don't just have functional consultants. We have PMs, we have BAs, we have analysts, we have testers, we have people in data migration. There are a lot of roles in SAP. So there's just this mindset about people. Oh, I want to do FICO. Oh, FICO. But I've had people who have come through that route, but they have realized that they are not so they are not built to keep the configure things and make things work and all that. They are more in tune to engaging with people and solving problems and engaging with stakeholders, understanding requirement, doing analysis. If that's your strength, then you have a role for you. If you are good at just working on your own and just bringing pieces together, and then you are good as a functional person. If you have grown, you want to understand, you want to learn how to, you're also good with the system, but you want to support people. You're also good as a support So there's different roles. But the most important thing is to learn. Once you learn and you kind of understand the system, you start discovering yourself more. Me, I've played in both spaces. I've worked as a BA, I've worked as a functional consultant, and right now I'm in the middle of both of them, because I now sit in a senior role. So I get to work with the system, I get to engage with people. So don't be fixated in your mind about just one thing. No. And the job market is also flexible. Be flexible as you're learning, even though you have said you want to learn how to configure the system. You must not be a functional consultant. You must not be somebody configuring the system. You can provide the functional specifications that people need to function. You can support, you can be the one driving testing, you can be the one driving the change management, you can be the one driving requirements gathering. In fact, when I was a BA, I enjoyed it more than being a functional consultant, because I had opportunity of traveling. If you're somebody who likes traveling and who wants to engage, by all means, learn the system. But as you're learning, keep developing the other side of you, because I enjoyed being on the business side, because I have that personality to engage with people. So this is me just trying to open up your mind. So identify your key strengths, update your CV. So immediately you have, at least you can log into the system, you can configure it, you can do some basic transactions. Sorry. Now, the next step is to go out there and try your hands on opportunities. There's no perfect, there's no perfect person anywhere. Even myself, when I got my first job, I wasn't perfect. I learned it just like you. I sat on the server. I knew how to configure it. I understood how things were how things were being brought together. And that's why training is important. And And that's also an issue I have with trainers, those who train with only what we call transaction codes. When you train with transaction codes, it doesn't give you the confidence you need to understand the system. So I'm a fan of training with the menu parts. So menu parts 80%, T codes 20%. So you will see me, because I understand the architecture of the system, I want participants to understand how the system works and how things are connected. Not just run a T code and do get things done. No, it's really about appreciating the system and appreciating the design behind the system. So we do more of taking you through the menu part than just running T codes. Explore new areas. It's also important. Explore new areas within the system. You could have done finance, but if you think you're a salesperson, why not explore it? Understand the demand, the market demand. I've showed you the demand from different countries. It's important. And I've also confirmed that FI is probably high in demand than any other module in SAP. which is finance. FI are maybe on the technical side, the ABAP guys, but they're a very small community. But on the functional side, you have finance, and of course, you have the big fours really, because you must use sales, you must use materials management, but finance is top start. You must have the ability to convince people. You're going to be working with stakeholders, you're going to be challenging thoughts. So that you're a functional consultant does not mean anything the business gives you, you design. No, you have to ask questions, you have to challenge positions, you have to make sure you understand the requirements, engage. So you have to have that ability to, um, I would say, negotiate. You have to also be diplomatic. This is more on the BA side. Then concentrate on hands-on as much as possible. When you get access to the server and when you do your training, focus on learning the tool. You know, get on, try new things. You might get errors, but that's fine. Keep testing and trying and running transactions. That's the only way to really know the system. Expand your professional network. Reach out with other consultants. In fact, if you're here and you're not on LinkedIn and your LinkedIn is not active, then you are very wrong, because 95% of my jobs have come from LinkedIn. It's a very good platform. So make sure you are on LinkedIn, make sure your account is active, make sure you are updating your LinkedIn with the learnings, even though you learn on Udemy or any learning you have, make sure you are updating that on LinkedIn and updating your profile. Once you make mistakes, improve on them. And of course, this one is very important. You have to persevere. It's a long journey. It's a long journey, but you need to, you sometimes, when you keep applying, you might get it once. Sometimes people get it once. Some other people take some time. But as you are trying, you have to persevere. Like I said, you have to keep trying, keep going back, and keep learning. That's the only way you will succeed in this career. The last but not the least, I normally do this in my sessions. Let's go to the market. Let's go to the market and see what's happening in SAP and how that impacts us. So let's go to the market briefly before we call it a day. Okay, now I'm going to we have different sites where you can search for jobs. Well, Innocent, do you still have questions?
Actually, I borrowed my colleague system to connect because I couldn't connect to my name is Blessed.
Okay,
So I connect
okay.
through his phone. Yes, my name is Blessed. So
Mhm.
I don't have question. I don't
Okay,
have question.
it's all right. It's all right. Let me drop your hands then.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Right. So if you want to get a job, like I said, we have different platforms where we can find jobs. You can search. If you go to Google, for example, you can say top 10 job sites for SAP. Let's say SAP, yeah, for SAP. If you're a fresher, if you're anything, you can put there. So if you probably go to AI, and AI will list the top jobs. So number one, you can see number one. So that's why I said, if you're not on Udemy, on LinkedIn, you are very wrong. Yeah, you are very, very wrong. And if you're not active, like I said, I'm a very good testimony. I have gotten 95% of jobs I've gotten have come from LinkedIn. So that's why it's number one. And it's IT. I think LinkedIn leads a lot within the IT space for jobs compared to Indeed and Glassdoor. So LinkedIn is an excellent source. So let's go to LinkedIn. So if you want to search for job, please register for all these sites. When you have job, you need to first, like I said, make sure your CV is ready, register on LinkedIn, get your profile up and running. But you see, LinkedIn, number one, even when I was in Nigeria, LinkedIn was the place I actually got my first job when I worked in places like KPMG. They reached out to me via LinkedIn. So let's go to LinkedIn and search for SAP jobs. Go to LinkedIn and let me also show you how you can do that. I don't know why this is bringing out. Okay, so it's fine. So I have this as LinkedIn. I have a message here. Oh, okay. So sorry, guy. I didn't get the link. I didn't get the link. I think I'm supposed to send this guy this. Okay, sorry. These are connections. So when you get here, you will go to the search option. So for LinkedIn, I have already have my profile set up. So you can set up your profile, your name, put all the things you have. At least for those who do not have LinkedIn profile, put your job, you know, your job history and all that. Then once you are done, you use the search button and you put SAP jobs. So we can just say SAP jobs, SAP finance, FICU, consultant jobs. Then if I put this, there's an option here that says jobs. So I can click on jobs. And here I can select the country I'm looking for this job, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in the US. So we'll check Canada, US, and the UK. So this is Canada, for example. And I think recently Canada has, I mean, the job market there is really great. I think they grew recently. I don't know why. Somebody said it was because of the migration issue. I think they stopped a lot of people from entering. So it has really scaled up opportunities. So you can see jobs in Canada. There's so many SAP FICO jobs right now. And if we let's pick the first one. So you see FICO, FICO, FICO. That's what it's called. If you look at the job description, so here it says what you will do: partner with BA project teams to design and implement SAP solutions across finance and operations. So you see, it's really working with BAs. That's why I say BA is also a very good opportunity. And those who want to become business analysts in SAP, oh, awesome. Or you can, so you partner with these people, you translate business requirements. Remember, this is what we talked about: translate business requirements into development needs. When we talked about the one of the key work, you will see here translate requirements into SAP solutions. So it's it's troubleshoot and resolve issues, collaborate across teams. You have to collaborate with guys and document configurations. So this is quite the function of a BA. So there are a lot of jobs really. If I go here, same thing. This one is, see, in a month, only 6 people applied. So if I was in this country or this state, so I've gotten this job. There are a lot of jobs in Canada now for SAP consultants. But one thing you see is that SAP, when you go to consultant, you see they want you to also learn other modules as a FICO person. If you check this one, they said you should have experience in treasury and SAP CML. So that you learn finance does not mean it stops there. There are other modules you should pick up. But I mean, if you know finances, that's the most important thing. They can work on that. This is also a senior FICO consultant. Same thing, worked with other processes, in-depth knowledge on FICO modules, knowledge of CO areas, solid understanding of integrations, good understanding of EDI, iDocs. These are integration tools, certification of a finance. What so this is basis warehouse. So these are working with the technical team. But let all this not scare you. The most important thing is to know your job as an FICO consultant. Other things are nice to have. Now, this is Canada. I can do more, but let's move to other countries. So I'm going to go to the US, which is like a very big hub for SAP consultant, one of the largest. So you see, you have different names. You have ERP implementation consultant, but hopefully when you go in, you will see something around SAP, and this is quite interesting. Um, they want somebody who can configure and optimize ERP modules. Let me see whether it's finance that they need. Okay. Yeah, so America is we know that that place is a hub for SAP. So if you're in America, it's a great opportunity. This is business solution. So you might not see, it's not every time you will see SAP as a job title. Sometimes they have different names. So here you can see ERP implementation consultant. Here you can see business solutions. Here you can see ERP consultant. So that's why when you're applying for jobs, you have to make sure you position yourself properly. Don't just focus on SAP. Your role should be across ERP systems. This is a nice job, really. And for 3 weeks, only 39 people applied. So there are jobs, really, and it's um it's really around, this is one day, 24 people, ERP selection consultant. This is what they pay. It's quite small. Okay, oh, this is good per hour. Okay, nice. So they pay about 60 to 70 per hour. At least 18 hours, 17 people. So it's all, yeah, strong FICO background. They need you to have some experience in other modules, design configuration, you know. So I guess it's actually, you know, so let's check. The next we're going to check is Germany, because we have people in Germany here. Another big hub in Europe, and very, very available. Very available. So 2 days, 38, one day, 23 people. So, and they like in-house people. There are people who would like to work in-house. So this is customization, configuration, business analysis work, you see. So even as a functional consultant, you need to know business analysis. You need to do project implementation, system integration, change management. So this is a call to all of us. If you're learning SAP, there are three parts you must make sure that you are learning in. There are three parts. For example, for an SAP person, there are three parts. There are three parts. One is BA, two is functional, and three is technical. So you must, within your journey, make sure that you don't just understand the functional, but you can do project work and you understand some technical things like integration, troubleshooting. So a consultant has these three is there like ranks on your shoulders. You must understand project implementation work. You must understand the system, and you must know how to do some technical bits as a functional consultant. As a BA, you must understand system, you must understand technical. As a functional consultant, you must understand BA, you must understand technical. As a technical person, you must understand function, you must understand BA. So it's very important to us, if you're listening to me, that the job market will not be nice to you if only what you know is FICO. You will struggle at this current job market. If only what you know is the system, you're going to struggle. Why? They don't just want somebody who can configure system, which is this guy. They also want somebody who can do business process work. They want somebody who understands project implementation. They want somebody who understands integration, who can do change management. And if I open all the job descriptions here, you will see a little bit of this, even though they are FICO person. So this is a wake-up call to all of us that If you're going to be learning the system, it doesn't end. The system knowledge is one little bit of the activate methodology, which is what we use to implement projects. If I open, let me open a random one. This guy, this is FICO. But if you come into the job description, you can see that they want somebody who understands CEO, which is the system. They also want somebody who can collaborate with stakeholders and gather requirements. This is BA. Then you will see that they will also need somebody who can do some technical stuff, which is the technical side of things. So this is what the job market is looking for. Let me say it again. And even for my friend that wants to just do no, the job market is looking for people who have these three skill sets in one, so that you don't learn SAP and think that you have arrived. So what is the market looking for? They are looking for SAP person that has three core areas: BA and project knowledge, system knowledge, and technical knowledge. You are going to struggle if only what you know is how to configure system. They don't employ people again who only know how to configure system and doesn't know how to do BA work. You will struggle in the job market. And probably this is one of the take home for us here in this session. If only what you know is to configure system, you will struggle in the job market. You need to learn how to do project work. You need to learn how to align requirements to the system. You need to also learn how to do some basic technical stuff like integration, troubleshooting for errors. You also need to understand how to do your functional specification document, which is for customizations. And and I'm saying it so that you don't learn SAP and think you have arrived. No, you will struggle. You might not get a job. And that's why when I did this thing, I showed you something. And this is why I said there's a point we put here about understanding the market. Where is that point? There's a point we put here about understand the demand. You need to understand the market. The markets right now have shifted. In the last 5 years, maybe if you had learned SAP, just as a functional person, just knowing the system is enough. But you see, in this day and age we are in now, knowing the system is one side. We have three parts. We have system knowledge, business knowledge or project knowledge, and technical knowledge. You will see these three parts in every job description. Every job description I go to, you will see this. If I go to this one, you will see, and this is my this is my own assessment. You're going to see number one, no system. So this is system. Number two, I'll analyze client business process, BA. Number three, business technology platform, analytics. And if you check here, user enablement, you see infrastructure and security, some bit of technical. But you see, the first thing is to know the system, but it's not enough. If you know only the system, then who will do all these ones? So if you submit a CV that talks a lot about just implementing projects, you will not you will struggle. You need to be able, you need to understand how to engage with, after learning the system, you need to learn the project side. You can see it everywhere. You can see this one now: analyze business and translate them into cloud, conduct workshop and gather requirements to deliver solutions, integrate. You can see three of them here in one job description. I don't know if it's clear enough. You can give a thumbs up if it's clear. I like emphasizing this because When you go out there, people will give you all the promises. Oh, okay, come and do training. Once you train, you get all the jobs. That is not correct. Oh, and when they train you, they use T codes and you use T codes to run around the system. That is not correct. That's not where we are in the current world. In the current world, you need you need to stay in that three layer of knowledge. So if you're learning, plan to learn all those three parts. And luckily for us, that is the structure of my courses. I don't, for those, of course, people, there are people who have gone through the first course, which is just understanding how to deliver projects. It's important. They can now see it, as I'm emphasizing now, why it was important to understand how to implement a project, because you will see it in every job description. But the what you hear out there is, oh, come and learn SAP. Once you learn SAP, you get jobs. It's not true. This is why many people paid for training, they learned, but they are still struggling because people teaching them only know systems, and it's not their fault. They will give you only what they know, but it's not true that once you learn systems, you're okay. No, you have to understand those three foundations. That's what holds you as a consultant. So there are a lot of opportunities. The problem is not the jobs. There are jobs. Let me emphasize it again. The problem with SAP is not jobs. There are jobs. So today, once you learn SAP, you have exposed yourself to a global market. But the problem is not jobs. The problem is people having the right skill set. For example, out of these 46 people that have applied, I can bet that only two or three will be fit for this role, because many people just sit on the system side. Many people sit on the system side. Again, if we look at this job description, what will you do? One, drive and translate business requirements. You see now, this is a role for finance consultant, but see the first thing they put there is not to configure system. So that's why I'm saying it's not about just learning SAP is one thing, but you see the project side, they will challenge you with it. They will, in fact, once you, oh, okay, because when you go for a typical SAP interview, let me explain. When you go for a typical SAP interview, you probably go through 2 or 3 stages. Let me see, where is that stuff? And I think we'll wrap up here. So when you go for an SAP interview, a typical SAP interview, you have 2 or 3 stages. The first stage you will meet people is those with functional knowledge. And the second stage is those with business knowledge, business or project knowledge. And the third, you might just meet a technical person. Sometimes technical is added to this one. So this is what happens with most people. You learn SAP, you know how to configure the system. Oh, good. Functionally, you go for the first stage interview, you pass. If for any reason you're moved to the second stage where you probably meet a manager or somebody who understands systems, who understands processes, you will fail here. Or if you meet one person who knows the two, you most likely not get the job. And that's why I'm emphasizing that it's not just about learning the system, it's learning everything in those three areas. So you see where they brought technical design and solution development. So this is where they now brought configuration. But the first thing is strategic business requirement. Then you have data analysis, which is part of, you have, you see, one thing you will always see is collaborate with cross-functional teams, collaboration, because finance sits at the heart of the application. So every other module will need you, but you don't need every module, but every module will need you. So that's why you must be somebody who is willing to work across teams and engage with different people. So I think I've emphasized this enough. Let's go to UK and we will end it here. So in UK also, there are so many also good opportunities. but I'm liking this. So for example, if you see this, this is finance business support consultant. So there are different roles. So you see your key responsibilities, align business process with global core model, document locals, then you design, support with design. So guys, I think I'll end here. I think I have emphasized this enough. Outside consultants, there are roles in business analysis. Just want to show you all the roles so you don't think FICO is the only role. So if you go to um, business, let's say business analyst, so you will see this role, for example, SAP business analyst. This is what they do. You will see that even as a BA, you need to understand the system. So see what you'll be doing day by day, solve SAP issues and help users get back quickly. So for you to know how to solve SAP issues, you need to know SAP. So either ways, whether you want to be a BA or you want to be a functional person, you need to know the system. But outside knowing the system, for a BA, there is much more work on project side. So this is just giving you an idea of how the job market is. There, like I said, for me, the problem is not, and for most people, the problem is not the job. The jobs are there. The problem is always around skill gap. All right, so I think we're going to end here for today, but thank you very much for finding your time to join us today. Um, I hope that this has really helped you prepare for our next sessions. We're not going to go down into SAP really and what's about, and understand the foundations, understand the methodologies briefly, but it's really around understanding the system. And then those who are part of this session will get their login access. Then we really go into the system gradually. I love the system. Like if you leave me, I would want to stay there, but I love just working with SAP. It's a very so if I go here, you will see what it looks like. And of course, there are two layers. There is one, we will learn that about the presentation layer. And of course, if I want to do configurations, you learn how to navigate. If I go to tools and I go to customizing and I go to IMG, I can just use the T code, but I want people to learn how to navigate systems. Then this is the back end where we do most of the work. So all the configurations we're going to be learning, it starts with the enterprise structure for functional teams. Why the technical team, they start with ABAP. So we're going to go through it like a journey. And guess what? We'll have a business case we're going to use. So we're not just going to go into the system and start configuring things. No, we're going to start with a business case. There was a business case we used in our previous session, which is called FlexTube. We will use that business case to design the system such that it's not just to configure. No, we are configuring based on with something at the back of our minds. We have like a, a design we are making for a company that is going through similar issues, and we will roll through that scenario so that when you are done learning SAP, you can explain it to someone else. It's not just about rushing through T codes. It's about understanding the architecture behind this. It's about learning how to align business requirements and system design. That is the beauty of how SAP works. So it's going to be a journey. We'll start, but we'll build up there and keep moving as we go along. But it's a very simple, well, I won't say it's simple, but it's a very it's a if you're taught well, you would understand the system and appreciate how the system works. And if you can get to the point of configuring it yourself and hosting end user transactions, for example, for those who for us, for those who will be supporting users, they sit mostly here. So if I go to financial accounting and I go to GL, mm, no, okay, this is information system. Sorry about that. So if I go to financial accounting and I go to my GLs, so those of us who have basic knowledge in other systems, you will probably know what GL is, and it's all about. But before I can post a transaction here, I need to have designed a system behind and put in parameters that can make me confused. And that's the work we're going to be doing following a scenario. So thank you very much, everybody. And please, if you want to reach me, my WhatsApp number is in the chat. Feel free to reach me after this call. Feel free to connect with me. Let me. I know most of you already have me connected on LinkedIn, but if you think you want to connect, let me just share my LinkedIn profile. Let me see. Yep. So you can connect with me. Then I will also share if you're on YouTube and you just want to maybe learn some stuff on YouTube, just go to YouTube, for example. And once you go to YouTube, just search. If you just say Kelechi Kelly Adjele, you should be able to get me. Just put the full name, and yeah, you're going to see my channel, and you're going to see a lot of stuff we have done on SAP, not just SAP, project related stuff, some basic AI stuff. So you can subscribe, and why not learn as much as possible? Learn the much you can and enjoy the journey. So that's how you can reach out to me. I also have training on Udemy. If you're on Udemy, why not? If you know how to use the platform, you can go to the online courses and you can see, what Udemy looks like. And you can, for example, if you go to Udemy and you just search, I won't log in, but if you just search Kelechi, if you just search my name, you should be able to pull out my courses. Yep. So these are my courses on Udemy. You know, you can search by name. If you want to learn at your own pace, why not? You learn at your own pace, and that's also fine. Okay. So thank you very much, guys. Let's have a very good weekend, and thank you for joining. And like I said, you can reach out to me in any way or any form, and we can connect. So let's have a very good evening and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you.